Okay, I guess the time is up and we should start presenting. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so this should be visible to all right now. And my name is Nidhi Nagori. I'm actually from Calcutta, West Bengal. And that's where I lived. I'm actually from a very small village, and we'll come to my introduction, but I did my schooling and college from Calcutta. I did my CA in India, and this webinar is about preparing for a post-pandemic world. And so this is my background. I am a CA from India. I also did a bachelor's in commerce from St. Xavier's, Calcutta. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. So I did my graduation, my BCom in 2012. I completed my CA in 2013. And then after I completed my CA, I worked in India for 2 years. Then I moved to the United States and I found opportunities as an Indian CA. So I moved to the US in 2016 and I worked for 3 years, and I subsequently completed my US CPA in May of 2019. That's last year. Right now I'm living and working in Canada. As an Indian CA, I've traveled to about 5 continents and I've worked in over 25 countries. I've also had a lot of US recruiting experience and in general in North America. And for the last 2 years, I've been very active on this platform called LinkedIn. So it has a base of about 45K plus followers. And I've also spoken at a lot of colleges in Calcutta, Delhi, Hyderabad. I work very closely with professional forums for CA students, and I work very closely with some of the groups that Canadian government has established for new immigrants here and CPA aspirants. So that is about me. I actually come from a very small village called Baudia. That's where I lived up until I was a teenager. It's in rural West Bengal. And when I moved to the US, there were a lot of things that I realized that were probably missing in my training, and which is why I had to learn and unlearn a lot. It wasn't so much the degree, because my Indian CA was pretty much acceptable. And if anybody is from a commerce background or any background that you may come from, it is important to know that our degrees are generally, education is very global in that sense. Whatever you study can be used and applied in any other country. It's generally how we put our thoughts there that make all the difference. And for me to learn that took a lot of time. And so I decided that what I went through, I do not want my juniors or students in India to go through, which is why I started coaching a lot of people. I started speaking at a lot of platforms, figured out avenues to go back to my roots and give back, because, that is important. So today we're just going to talk about, I'm not going to teach you any technical skill, because I feel you guys are technically very, very competent and qualified. What I'm going to tell you, we're going to enter a world that none of us know exactly what it's going to look like. And right now, what we do know is using technology, making sure that we have an upper hand in technology is important, because you may not be meeting a lot of people right now, but everybody and anybody can find you using technology. So how do you use technology to your own benefit? Today, that's what I'm going to talk about. So why am I here? Like I said, the definition of normal stands changed. This, what we're going to live in, is the new normal. And so, all right, I think we've crossed 100 participants. I just want to say we've crossed 100 participants. So if somebody's unable to join in, I apologize in advance. All right, now coming to why am I here? Because the definition of normal has changed. This is a world after the pandemic where working and just working in silos and having your technical knowledge inside your brain is not going to get you anywhere. What should you do as a professional in this a new world, and how should you collaborate and network and brainstorm ideas across borders. And by that I mean, how do I help you or assist you or maybe give you a little bit of a push as to how can you become a global professional. And by global, I don't necessarily mean working in India or working in Singapore or working in New York. No, that's being able to go anywhere and work seamlessly. And I think that's where my experience of having worked in the five major continents helps. So, okay, so let's start with networking. What really networking is and why is it important? So, I think when I was in college, I came pretty late into this game. So when I was in college and I was a student, there wasn't a lot of focus around networking. I have seen that conversation change in the last 3 to 4 years. But I'll tell you what, when I came to the US, I figured that the students here, because I was competing with somebody who'd gone to college here, right? So the students here were way ahead in the game. They were basically, they were networking, they were up there, they were doing what was required. And me, one, I've not even gone to college here. I know no one here. I have zero to start off from. And then two, I have absolutely no networking skills. So then how is it that I bridge the gap? So for me, it was important to understand what networking is and what is really a network. So let's start by this, that network is not someone who knew personally. These are all people who know you professionally. They can know you professionally through any medium. You could have met them in a conference, you could have met them on platforms, you could have met them in a meeting. But professionally, they know you very well. So professionally, the remaining of the world goes into the bucket of networking. Now, why is it really important? Well, think about it. If you are sitting in Delhi and you're unable to travel and you're unable to, go and visit somewhere or drop your CV off personally, think of it. If somebody wants, if somebody has an internship, if somebody has an industrial training opportunity, if some home small project that they want people for, how are you going to find people? Because right now there is no travel happening. And this is not going to change for, some time. Yes, you will see domestic travel, but international travel is still not going to pick up. So suppose there is a project that I want to do in India, for example, then how do I find people in my network? Like, how do I find people in India? Well, I go to my network, right? That's why I have a network. And so it is really important because it gives you the accessibility to opportunities that you would not have otherwise. And so a lot of these opportunities, because of the pandemic, have now shifted online, which is whether it is working from home, whether it is internships, jobs, business opportunities, investors, everything is online. So you need to have a good global presence. And if you, want opportunities that can help you define, you have to be able to network well. So let's start with networking. And I'm not sure how much you have been exposed to the concepts of networking or to the idea of networking. But I know there are some professional groups. I was in India working. I used to go for this one professional meet group. It was great. I ended up making a lot of friends there, but it wasn't anything that helped me progress my career. So, of course, like I said, I've seen that change in the last couple of years. People are taking this seriously. Nobody's trying to know you personally now. It's all limited to your professional growth and career. So, yes, all of that is happening. But you definitely want to ensure that, your networking skills are up there. All right. So, how do you network with people? How do you meet people? How do you communicate who you are to these people? So, initially, you used to have offline mediums and online mediums. Offline mediums would include in person meets. So, it would include coffee chats where you basically ask a person, hey, can we get coffee together for maybe 15 minutes? And you can talk about your professional growth and career, etc. Or telling you guys that I went to for India, I have meetup groups. There's an app on Meetup where you have these networking events. Or you have, your in-city networking groups. I think one group that I know of is Toastmasters. They're present almost in every city. So these are the offline mediums. Now, because of the pandemic, these offline mediums have come to a halt. these are not really happening right now. So which is why all the focus has gone on to the online LinkedIn, which I think is a massive platform. And out here, at least in North America, right from high school, students are on LinkedIn. I don't think that's still happened in India. And I know they are on LinkedIn because some of them had sent me an email to do a webinar for them. So I know this is not how we function in India yet. Wherever this is not social media. Let me tell you this. This is a professional networking app. And so if you're not on LinkedIn, my suggestion, highly consider it. The other online mediums are phone calls, in which you basically, source information, call people, etc., or Zoom calls like you and me here. So these are the online mediums. These are the best ways to network right now. Of course, I'd say LinkedIn has a way more potential because it's not one-on-one. Like phone call is one-on-one. Zoom call is one-on-one or 1-on-5, etc. If you're active on a platform like LinkedIn, you're visible to way more people. And I can tell you this, most of the recruiters are headhunting on platforms like LinkedIn. So if you're looking for jobs, if you're looking for internships, if you're looking for openings, people are posting openings all the time. And this is my personal experience. I'm going to talk about that in detail. But this is a great platform. If you haven't started making use of it, please start using it actively. So optimizing a platform like LinkedIn, how can we maximize the gains from an online platform? And then how did I find my jobs? So technology is not the future anymore. It is the reality. The faster we accept that, the better chance we stand in becoming good global professionals. So not just, and by technology, I don't just mean LinkedIn. I think technology overall, whether it comes to work, whether it comes to learning new softwares, whether it comes to making sure that, we can, for example, now you have finance people who are learning to code. So everybody's trying to get into the technology space because this is the reality. So with that, LinkedIn is just a piece of it. So how do you optimize a platform like LinkedIn? So I'll tell you my personal stories. My second job in India happened through LinkedIn. A recruiter reached out to me and I wasn't very active. I started getting active on LinkedIn end of 2018. Before that, I had a profile, but and I had a profile because I was going for CA campus in 2013, and someone had told me, "Hey, like you really need a profile." So I built a profile, but not something that I was very actively using. So even then, even though I had a dormant profile up there, India for 2 years. So my second job, which was for about 1.5 years, happened through LinkedIn. The recruiter found me on LinkedIn, and then they called me for interview, and straight up I got this amazing opportunity to work. So that was my first brush with LinkedIn. Even then it didn't hit me how powerful this platform is. Then I moved to the US, and then again I'm looking for jobs. So the first job, of course, I was able to get. Again, the second job, and here, because the culture is so different, it's nothing like being in India, especially if you don't have a background here. What is very important is, where did you go to college to? And because I did not go to college in the US, I was at a substantial disadvantage compared to other people who were applying for opportunities. So my current job, which for which I've traveled so much, and I've lived in the US for it, and now I'm living in Canada for it. This job happened through LinkedIn, which is basically, again, a recruiter found my profile, and he told me that, hey, listen, your profile is not even close to what North American standards should be. So he sat with me this one evening, and he read my resume with me. He read my LinkedIn with me. He told me the basics of, this is what it should look like, this is how you do it, etc. And sure enough, I went in and I got the job because I was still the Indian CA that had moved from India, and had nothing really changed in terms of my technical competency, nothing really changed in terms of what I knew. The only change he did was to my resume and to my LinkedIn profile, and he made sure that everything was according to the standards here. And so I'm going to share all those tips with you right now. And since then, of course, I've networked with a lot of recruiters in the US and in Canada. And so I've been able to figure out how to use this platform to benefit. And that's mostly what that's the work that I do with a lot of immigrants here also. And just because we're on that, I'm also going to tell you a couple more stories. I've also gotten a few business opportunities through LinkedIn. People have reached out to me, and we've had Zoom calls, we've had phone calls, completely crazy ideas that I did not even think would exist. People have found me and have reached out for those ideas. Not just me, I actually do a series called CAs Abroad on my YouTube channel, and I think I've covered just 3 episodes, so all 3 different countries. And all those 3 people, and these are not people that I know, so all those 3 people have mentioned how important it is to use a platform like LinkedIn. And I'll give you another example. I know this girl through LinkedIn. There's a year and a half ago, she reached out to me. She was going through a very bad marriage, and not somebody that I know. Okay, so now we'll talk about how do we make sure that we are playing around very well on a platform like this. I'll go into these in details, but let me just give you some basics. A good headshot, a very interesting bio, personalized invites over regular invites, relationship building, introductions over transactional introductions, structuring your thoughts for posts, keeping it in line with your target network, posting content when your target network is using the medium, and being patient. So I'll come to all of these in details, but I wanted to just talk about one thing here, which is your target network. Now, it is important to define your target network very well. It's not a coincidence that my network on LinkedIn is finance people in India. I've chosen to build that network. So I've always posted content that is structured around my target network, so that my target network so that my content is reaching out to my target or my defined audience. And then when I moved to Canada, again, it wasn't a coincidence that a lot of my network started shifting to Canada in my network. That was also a very structured move because I was constantly planning about, hey, what is my target audience? What is my target network this time? So think about who you want to target well. If you are a student, do you want to target other students from other colleges globally? If you are a professional, are you trying to target people in your field or in other fields? If you are a college professor, are you trying to target maybe companies that are out there for hiring? So maybe professionals like those, people higher up, or other professors. So think about who you want to make your target network, because you could have a huge network and have it of zero use. And I've seen that happen to 1 or 2 people on LinkedIn who have insane amount of people following them, but because they chose the wrong target network, it gives them no good. So you could have a good network of like XYZ number of people, but it may be of no use because that is not even your field of interest. So always think about who do you want your target network to be. Now, we'll come around with the details. And this is just cleaning up your LinkedIn. This is making sure that your LinkedIn is fine enough. And I'm focusing on a platform like this because right now the only way people can access you is through this platform. There are other platforms like Shapper and maybe some other groups, but nothing as big as LinkedIn right now. It has 500 million users, and most are headhunting on LinkedIn. And I just want to specify that I know there is Naukri and Monster and all of that, but that those are only for entry level or low paying jobs. The good ones don't go through Naukri; they're generally through LinkedIn. So, and these are stats that my recruiter friends and my people in my network have given me, and it's basically, I can tell you it's true for India, Canada, and the US. So now let's come to the headshot and headline. So you can see this is the LinkedIn headshot that I have. Not something that I got it on my own. My employer gave it to me. So before that, I had a very simple picture. You don't need a very fancy picture. The only thing that you need to understand is you cannot have a group DP or a group picture. You cannot, be taking a selfie, no side pictures. No, this is just a straight picture. And the only thing visible should be your face. You should not be wearing anything that takes the attention away from the face. So it's just your face and your hair. And basically, 2 things to keep in mind when you're putting up a LinkedIn picture or LinkedIn headshot. One, you should look like this. So if you can see my hair length in that. So if I ever go and get a haircut done, I'm probably going to change that picture, because you have to look like that. You cannot be looking like someone completely different from that picture. So that's number one. And then number two, remember, this is more attractive. So make sure that you're sanitizing your picture a little bit, putting up a nice picture. You don't have to look pretty or handsome or anything. No, just look confident and have a smile. For the headline, you get 144 characters here. The way I put it out is, uh, please make sure that you use most of those characters. Now, if you're a college student, maybe put your line of study / your college name / other interests that you may have. I always tell this to people, that your headline is what you aspire to be. So like for my employer's name, that will come up. And because we're talking about my employer here, I just want to ensure one thing is clear. Everything I'm saying is personal. There is nothing related to my employer. So these are not my employer's opinions. Okay. And again, just try to make sure there are no colors that are standing out and crazy. You don't have to get a professional headshot. Get a normal picture, but just focus on these things. Make sure the focus is only on your face, you're looking confident, and the picture is real. All right. Personalized connection and relationship building. When you're trying to connect with people on LinkedIn, try not to send them random requests. This is a standard, because now when you go and connect with people on LinkedIn, it throws up an option saying, hey, do you want to write a personalized message to this person? So take some time, take an effort, and write a message. And this is just a standard format that I've given for an example, like, hey, I came across a post of yours, or I came across your profile and I realized there's a lot that I can learn by having someone like yourself in my network. So if the chances of your connection requests getting accepted and you getting a response back are way higher if you're sending a personalized message. And very recently, I do the soft skills course. And so one of the tips that I give there is this. And one of my students went and used it. And so she came back the other day and she told that she's trying to connect with a few people. She'd about 8 of those, she sent a personalized connection request to after the class. And after the next day, like within 6-7 hours, about 6 people had already accepted, and 2 or 3 of them had already replied to her. And these were people who were not even accepting her connection requests. So if you're trying to build a relationship, it's going to go a long way, and people are going to more chances if your requests getting accepted. Again, deciding a network. I told you, make sure that you're defining your target audience. And you have to understand, this is not a social media platform. It is a process. It works both ways. You give and you get. So if you're not giving, which is if you're not giving your time, if you're not giving your effort, you're probably not going to get anything out of it. So if you want to really use this platform, you have to start writing on it. So which is, because if you write, only then will your thoughts and posts reach your target audience. Otherwise, how will you find your target audience? Even if it is about, you want to find an internship, put the LinkedIn. You never know. People are going to comment. The post is going to generate engagement. It's going to reach. Really mean it's not limited to something. It could change over time. Like right now, if you're a student, you could be looking for internship opportunities. 2 years later, you may be a graduate, and so you'll probably be looking for jobs. So then your target shifting a little bit. But in general, if you post, even if I'm looking for a job, I'll probably go and post. And so I know that that post will reach someone. And that really helps. If you go on LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of people right now posting about pandemic. And a very, very good post that I read yesterday was somebody who lost his job and then found another one because of LinkedIn. And this is not the first time that I've read it. I've read it so many times in the last couple of days. So make sure that you're putting your content out, put it out strategically, which is, if you are posting for an audience in India, if you're looking for an internship in India, don't post content at 3 a.m. because nobody in India is scrolling through their phones at 3 a.m. So post it at maybe 3 p.m., 4 p.m. when people are more likely to use their phones. Keep it real, keep it relatable so that people can relate to what you're posting. I think those work the best. If you try and post something too technical, it does not generate the same amount of engagement. Again, if you are scared and anxious and wondering why you need to do it, I'll tell you this: putting your thoughts out in public is tough. I completely agree with you, and I've gone through that, and we all go through that. But if you want the global world to give you a chance, you have to take a chance too. Right now, there is no medium for me to know you. For right now, there is no medium for anyone else in any part of the world to know you. There is only limited space, which is technology. And so on technology, whatever is the medium available, you have to use it. And that probably means that you have to let them into your personal space a little bit. They wouldn't invade your personal space completely, but you have to let them know who you are through your thoughts, through your activities, so that they can know who you are as a professional. And since we are on this topic, a couple of things that I want to remind you guys is, if you are already on LinkedIn, or if you're planning to get onto it, or a professional network platform. Two topics to stay away from and completely stay away from, and I'm very serious about this, are religion and politics. You don't want to be posting about religion and politics on professional platforms. Make sure you're not commenting or liking such activity. Also, because recruiters can see and are very, very wary of that. And another thing, if you're trying to connect with people on a platform like LinkedIn, just ensure that you're trying to reach out to the normal ones. Don't try to reach out to CEOs and CFOs or the famous ones on LinkedIn. They don't log in enough, or if they do, their inbox is already flooded with a lot of messages. So they're probably not going to get to yours soon. So reach out to the normal people who have more chances of responding to you. And thank you on that note. If you have any questions, of course, I will be taking questions, but if you'd want to send me some questions, I have my email address up there. So send it to me. I have a team in India. They're pretty good with starring those emails for me. I generally tend to respond as well. It may take some time, but I will. LinkedIn is another way. Unfortunately, LinkedIn has a max of 30K and I'm off that, so I'm not able to accept connection requests. But you could send me a personalized invite and I'll be able to respond to your messages, or you can just basically follow and comment, etc. There's YouTube, and if you really want to ask me a question, you can also reach out to me on Instagram. That's fine too. So anything after the session, or anytime you feel that, hey, I have a question, I'd like to get you'd like to get my thoughts on it, for sure, make sure you reach out to me. And with that, I thank you so much for the opportunity. This has been great. I will now go ahead. If you guys have questions, please raise hands so that I can just go ahead and maybe unmute you guys. All right, if Priyal has a question. Priyal, I'll unmute you. Okay, Priyal, I think you're not muted, so go ahead. Okay. I do see some questions here. I'm gonna take them one by one. Durga Madhab is asking, how do you think good networking create new digital friends? I don't think we're looking for friends here, Durga. This is networking. It's not supposed to be friends. These are not people who should know you personally. Of course, you are going to share a little bit of your personal information, like your email, maybe your phone number, if you are comfortable, that is. But by no means, and by no means should they know who you are as a person. So I'll give you an example. I work with a lot of people, and you can see I travel. Before the COVID, I used to travel half the year. So I was traveling with my colleagues. So I'm basically staying with these people for half the year in random countries all over the world. But if you ask me, where do they live? I have no idea. Are they married? I have no idea. No idea. What are their personal interests? Absolutely no idea. So, this is how networking is. They know nothing about you. Okay. Neha, how do we ensure we get learning to the right people in the network? Well, like I said, define your network first. You have to think about who do you want in your network. Do you want, and it has to be very broad, of course. Do you want finance people? Do you want science people? Do you want commerce people, humanities people, etc.? So define your network, and then that's how you start writing posts. So if you want to connect more with the science people, write stuff related to science. If you want to connect more with the commerce people, write stuff related to commerce. So, all right, I'll be unmuting you guys. Just give me 1 minute. A lot of people have sent questions. I'm just responding to those. Shikha, how do we look confident? Well, I don't think you can look confident in one day. I think it is a process and it takes time. You will be very uncomfortable. When I started off, and I'm very, very shy and introverted as a person, let me tell you this, it's not, and it's definitely not easy. Coming from where I came from, imagine coming from this small village. I lived there up until I was 13. And then when I'm 22, I'm in this completely new country where people are speaking a very different kind of English, the kind of English that I've never heard. So do you think I was very confident? No. And I always say this to people, none of us are 100% confident on any given day. That shouldn't stop us from looking 100% confident. So you just, of course, you're not going to feel very confident, but the more you put yourself out there, the more comfortable you'll get with the thought of talking in front of strangers. And that's probably going to make you feel confident. So I hope that helps. Rinku is asking, digital platforms are important for Indian placements only? No, I think they're important globally. Sweetie, is getting endorsed on LinkedIn important? Not really. Nobody looks at that. Aditi, how to approach someone for internships on LinkedIn? I wouldn't go and approach someone personally if you ask me. Instead, what I would do is I would write on LinkedIn that, hey, I'm looking for internship. Or if there's a post that you see about internship, then maybe send them an email. But you have to understand, Aditi, that if you have a pre-established professional relationship with them, it's easier to reach out to them. So if these are people who already know you, then it's easier to reach out because you already have something to start off on. And you don't want it to look transactional, meaning that, when you are connecting with someone, try not to talk straight up about an internship or a job. Try to talk about them. Try to understand their field. So that's what I'm saying, start networking right now, because the network that you're going to start building on right now will probably be of use 6 months later. If you make it very transactional, then people are not going to respond to you. Because, we're all humans. None of us like the idea of feeling being used. So if you send me a message saying, hey, I'm looking, and a lot of people do this, please find my CV attached and find me job opportunities. I never respond to them because I just feel that's not time well used. Instead of somebody's reaching out to me and asking, hey, I want to know something about, my field, internal audit or controls, or how's it different, or about any course, etc., I feel like my time is better used there. So if you are approaching someone for internships on LinkedIn, make sure you first, instead of asking directly, ask them about how's the company, what is the work role, what is the role like, what are you going to learn, how much time is needed, etc. Okay. Swati, my question is, I wish to have a career outside my present career, and I would like to network for both separately. No, you don't have to create 2 separate LinkedIn profiles. You could definitely network with both, both kind of networks. And I'll tell you how. This is too much information at this point, but I'm married to a cardiologist. So because he's from science and, well, he's a doctor, and so he knows cardiology, but he doesn't know how my field works, like how CPAs work. So he's made the effort to build a network which is doctors and finance people, and he has both on his LinkedIn. and he's fine, and it works very well for both of us. Similarly, I've also tried to network a lot with doctors to understand what he does. So you want to have a career outside of your present career, you don't need two separate LinkedIn profiles. Just add them to your defined network list, because your network can be as big as you want it to be. Kamal, what about countries like US, UK? Are these countries using digital networking? Everyone is. Anjali, for a fresher, how social media can help them find their dream job? I told you, you have to start getting an active. And this is not social media, Anjali. I think social media is Instagram, WhatsApp, all of that. And I don't think they help that much. This is professional networking. And, all the tips that I said, use it. So that's definitely going to help. Tanishka, I'm an artist and I don't know how to approach people on LinkedIn because they're looking for an employee or much from the corporate sector. I don't agree with that, because I've seen a lot of people post their, especially the music ones. I've seen a lot of them post their, creations on LinkedIn and get good feedback from people. And not just, not just artists. I've seen so many different kind of people post their creations on LinkedIn. It's the platform. You can use it any way you want. Mansi, ma'am, we sometimes get connection requests from people who are different from our target network. Should we accept them? In the beginning, I would say accept everyone. Start filtering people out once you cross 10K, because LinkedIn stops at 30K. So after 10K, you really want to be cognizant of who you are putting in your network. Abhishek, most professionals know about LinkedIn. What else? I told you there are other apps like Meetup, Shapper, all of that. I've used them personally. I don't feel they come close to it, but you can try and use them. Shreyans, one of the things you said is finance students are doing coding. I'm also learning programming, but it's only because I have interest in web and online development. My question is, how can this help in my finance career? Well, I'm glad you're learning programming. Yes, a lot of us are learning coding now, because right now people need to know technology. I mean, we know that automation is going to eat up a lot of our jobs, especially in fields like finance, where the entry level jobs can easily be eaten up if they can be automated. So if you can know how to use that automation, which means if you can, these jobs are going to get automated. If you can write the program to automate that job, you will always be in demand. So that's going to help you. How's LinkedIn different from other networking sites? I don't think that there is the number of people that use LinkedIn. It's just the number of people. 500 million users. You don't have that kind of users on any other networking sites. Is CA after CA? Is it a good option to do CPA? I think any career choice that you make in terms of the professional course you want to do, it has to suit and it has to align with your career path. I did CPA after 3 years of working in the US because I felt that, okay, it's going to give me some value addition. Otherwise, I really wouldn't have done it. So, think about it. If you think that this is something that can help your interest, if you're doing it to get somewhere, no, there's no. Anjali, ma'am, if a person is a CPA and not CA, will the person be able to find a job in India? Of course, Anjali. There are so many openings for CPA and ACCAs. I've made so many videos about it on YouTube. Please go and check it. You'll get a good high idea of how big the market is. Kavita, can you please tell me how to become a successful YouTuber and pursue a career in it? Honestly, I don't think that, I don't think I'm successful, first of all. So let's begin with that. And I've only started out because I wanted to help more people, and LinkedIn as a platform has its limitations. I think the key to do anything on technology or platforms like YouTube or LinkedIn or Instagram is to never forget why you're doing it. You have to have a purpose in mind. For me, the purpose always was to give back to my roots, to give back to students in India. And so, whatever happened, even if my posts or videos are not well received, I know that I'll get up tomorrow morning and I'll think of something else, because, my purpose is still there. So, so just find a purpose that's going to push you to create content every day or every other day. And that's if as long as you're consistent, you'll be good. Do you have any suggestions on which CPA exam review course to look for? I use Becker's and I absolutely love them. Priyal, do you feel in the current scenario with visa issues and travel problems, global companies would hire global employees who haven't worked for them before, considering the preference previously working in their country? Well, Priyal, I think what's going to happen is a lot of jobs are going to get shipped because of the cost pressures from the Western countries to countries like India, Philippines, and in Asia, these are two big markets, right? You have India, Philippines, and Pakistan. These are, well, three big markets that we have. So you're going to see a lot more jobs getting shipped. And what happens is when a big chunk of that job gets shipped, then, half of the work is being done in India. So either we need the person here most of the time, in future, we need the person here most of the time, or we'll need half and half. So you stay in India half the time, you come here half the time, stuff like that. So that's going to happen. So yes, people are going to hire people for sure. Businesses are businesses at the end of the day. They care about costs. Bhavani, kindly suggest some of the necessary soft skills in order to gel in the corporate world and stand out. Well, I think you have to be very confident in talking in front of strangers. This used to happen to me when I was very young and naive and, just entered the corporate world, and I wasn't able to speak up in meetings. I wasn't able to express my thoughts. I was always very diffident. That took a lot of time and a lot of learning. But as long as you're able to talk and as long as you're able to be honest and do good work, I don't think anything else matters, because you have to be confident and put your thoughts out. And that was the reason why I came up with this soft skills course, because I knew that the gap wasn't in our technical skills. The gap always was what we know technically and what we're able to put out. Like, I myself wasn't able to put out my thoughts in public before, and now I'm sitting here giving webinars. It is difficult for some people to express their views on networking sites, and how does one overcome that? Well, I think you have to understand that nobody is judging you there, and you have to do it for yourself. It is difficult. I don't disagree with it, but you have to do it for yourself. You cannot be thinking, oh, how are they going to perceive me? That cannot be the thought behind you trying to do something on social on a platform like LinkedIn. Is it possible to pursue CPA after BCom? From Yadu Krishna? Yes, if you are doing it from certain colleges, if you're doing BCom from certain colleges, and if you go through states like Guam, possibly, but you won't meet the 150 credits. Nishudhana. Hi, Nidhi. I'm a final year student and I got placed. Can you give me some insight on networking and communicating with my colleagues? How to put my ideas on the table and make sure everyone recognizes it? Well, I think be very assertive. Stand by what you say and be very clear in your thoughts, which means that you have to be prepared for follow-up questions. So suppose if you are putting your thoughts out there, people are going to ask you questions. You have to be prepared for all kind of questions. So make sure that you're technically sound, and then make sure that your soft skills are in place, that they help you put your thoughts out. Priya, do you feel freshers using would be able to land jobs in other countries? I told you, there was this girl that I helped 8 months back. Well, I did not technically help her. I just posted about her on LinkedIn, and she got a job in Luxembourg. So yes, it happens. And then I've been interviewing so many people on YouTube, and they all say that all that they did was LinkedIn. Okay. All right. I think, okay, Jyoti. Ma'am, I'm a CS for my career growth. Which course will you recommend? You have to find something that interests you. If you are a CS, figure out what is the line that you want to pursue your career into, and that's definitely going to help. All right. Anyone else? I'm probably going to unmute Priyal. Priyal, you had a question. I don't know if... I probably answered you. Sorry. And I think I also answered Kamal. Mansi, should we put all our education or certification on LinkedIn, or should we be selective about what to put? No, I would put everything on LinkedIn, even if it doesn't match your career preference, because the world right now prefers diversity. If I'm hiring somebody for my team, I'd be very curious to know if they know painting, for example, or dancing. So yeah, put everything that you know out there. Thank you. I'll see if we have any other questions for the next 2 or 3 minutes. Kavita, how frequently content to be uploaded on YouTube? Depends on you, honestly. You decide when you want to post. I decided 2 days in a week because I have a team in India and they're able to help me out. And I have some structure in my mind. So if you have everything well thought out, just go ahead, make a pick. Ananya, any courses you would recommend? Honestly, I've interviewed people from so many courses on my YouTube. Go to that and see, because if I tell you, are there any courses that I recommend, I wouldn't know. Because I don't know you and I don't know your interests. You have to figure your own interests out, and then that's gonna help you, figure out, okay, what is it that you want to do. Jyoti, would we upload every certificate on LinkedIn? Will it be secure? Yes, you can upload. Just don't upload certificates from school. Uh, so, just don't upload like certificates from school or merit cards. I know I used to do that a lot, because you caught me there, because I used to put a lot of the merit cards there. And, so don't do that, because you don't want to be putting random information. You definitely want to put stuff like certifications, like the professional certifications. So yeah. Okay. And do you feel the frequency of content that you post on LinkedIn matters too? Not really. Priya, that LinkedIn is a platform where you can basically post whenever you want to. That's fine. So no, not at all. Feel that lack of patience would be set back for getting a job abroad. Again, no. I've not had global education, and I've worked pretty much most of the work that I've done globally has been with Indian education. Suhail, I'm a psychology student. How will it be helpful for me? Well, just finding your own interest and then defining. I don't think that platforms these days are limited to one field or two fields. So you have to find that path. But I can tell you, it's everything is useful. If people like me can find something on LinkedIn, and yes, I'm a corporate employee, but this webinar also that I'm doing is courtesy my presence on LinkedIn. So okay. All right. I don't think we. I don't think so. Okay, there's a question saying we should be reaching out to people on a decent position who would be more helpful. No, I'm saying you have to reach out to employees, because and the only thing that a person can do, nobody can get you a job. You have to go and get that yourself. The only thing that a person can do at max is that they can go and get you a referral. And if you are reaching out to a CFO, I mean, the chances of them responding to you are very, very low. So, no, reach out to a regular person, because your chances of getting an employee referral and a message back, and then think of it, you're not applying for a position of a CFO. You're applying for a position of maybe an entry level senior manager, etc., or something like that. So these are the people who are on parallel tracks with you in the company. They're the ones who are going to be able to explain to you what like what really is needed to be in the company. Davinder, I'm from CA, from mathematics background. How can I do CA or CPA? CPA needs accounting background, so but CA you can definitely do it. CA doesn't have that requirement. CPA needs a bachelor's in accounting. Bhavani, ma'am, wouldn't too many extracurricular achievements on a marketing major give away a confusing front? Is it not better to have a definite structure and achievements relating to a particular field? Well, I don't think so, only because if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see that it says what I'm saying here. I don't have a very defined structure, and people still reach out to me. So, uh, I I don't agree with that, because I feel that whatever is your achievement and whatever you identify yourself as, it has to be on LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn has to be you. It cannot be separate from who you are. So, okay. Impact of COVID-19 and network marketing. I have no idea about network marketing, sir. I'm really sorry. If we want to, okay, so Shreyans is asking if we want to feature our academic presentations and projects, which section is best suited for it? There's a featured section, so go and see that. I think that's a good area. Do you feel the networking gap between not going to a great school versus having great skills? Networking via chat box to a stranger, how can one showcase their soft skills and necessary skills which are attached to a particular school? Good question, Priyal. I don't feel that there's a lot of gap there, because I've been able to network with strangers through chat boxes. People can figure out, because most of the times uh, you're probably not using right grammar. It doesn't matter which school you went to. What matters is what is the knowledge level that you have. So if you don't have good grammar, if you don't know punctuation marks, if you cannot put your thoughts together, if the conversations with you are not interesting, people will, not respond to you. So, Jatin, which institute would you recommend for ACCA? I haven't done ACCA, Jatin, but I've done a video on ACCA with somebody who did it. So maybe that could help you. Okay, Anisha. Hello, Anisha.
On behalf of all the attendees, I am Shaheed, PFIA Secretary. I would like to thank you for this insightful session, ma'am. The guidance that you provided during the webinar was really enlightening and helped us to understand the fact that how networking plays a vital role in global professions. To understand that networking not only allows professionals to help each other, but also allows the exchange of ideas among professionals and also help us exploring the new opportunities. These students really learned a lot from this splendid session. We would love to hear from you in the future as well. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank Dr. Nidhi, Praveen Ma'am, and our guest officer, Ms. Ritika Tundra, for all our efforts that they have put in organizing this webinar for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anisha. Thank you, Nidhi ma'am, and everybody here. You guys have been such a great audience, and the questions were great. I absolutely loved talking to each one of you. And trust me, there's nothing like being able to give back to my home country. So if I'm able to help, even one person here, this is an absolute honor, and I really want to thank each one of you for giving me this opportunity. So thank you. Take care, and hope to hear from you guys. I hope you guys learned from this. Oh, Priya, sorry, I'll answer one last question. Do you feel that networking would play an important role in business promotion? Oh my God, I cannot even stress on how important it is. if you have a business, make sure you have a good network, because you want to be able to talk about your business in a subtle way, and you want to be able to promote it well. So yes. So thank you so much, guys. It's been great talking to each one of you, and wishing you guys a wonderful, splendid evening. Wherever you are, stay safe, and take care of yourselves. Keep working hard and don't stop dreaming. Thank you. Bye-bye.